Hi guys! So today I'm back at it again and I'm going to be doing a video where I'll be talking about how I improved my mental health in my 20s. I'm Katrina and I love connecting to people and sharing my experiences of self-growth and life lessons. Mental health is something that many of us struggle with, so I thought it would be interesting to address that adversities and challenges are indeed things that we can possibly overcome in our lives. I'll start with my story of how I realized I didn't have a healthy relationship with my mind and mental health and how my life changed according to it. From a very young age, I've associated myself with the bizarre world and society. At the period of time where people were focused on schooling and making friends, I would often find myself discovering outside the walls of a 14 years old girl. From there, I started my own online business. Many of my friends were way older than me. I grew up having an old soul in a young body. I also think that everything comes in a package. Some would call me a weirdo and a rebellious girl who didn't make my parents or my friends proud. I dropped out of school at 16. I failed all of my studies. I couldn't maintain any relationships at all, whether it being my love life or my friendships. I had many conflicts with myself because deep down I've always felt so different that I was meant to lead a different path than I was supposed to. So here comes the other side of that package. Due to that, I was able to spend time discovering myself, jumping from countries to countries and changing so many different careers in my life after I dropped out of school made me realize that the external world couldn't make me feel any happier or fulfilled. I jumped from Singapore to Malaysia to London thinking that changing my environment would change how I felt. And it obviously didn't work out. And I remember how I was having this insomnia for like a few months. I even took drugs and sleeping pills to make myself fall asleep because I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I had so many things happening to me, yet I couldn't figure out why, and I would just blame the world for not having a place for me. However, everything changed when I took that power back to myself and I used that energy to really reflect on how I created this life that I was in. I started knowing I had to work on what's in here, what exactly I was battling with on the inside. I'll start many different forms of practices and I will create a new bond with what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking because I was literally immune to that for those years that I was very depressed and unhappy with my life. I remember how when I felt really shitty, I would drink a lot of alcohol. I would get drunk every night when I was in London. I would go clubbing and stuff. But no, I woke up feeling shittier than ever. And I remember how there was once I was on a Grab, just crying the hell out of myself and telling a Grab driver that I want to leave the world. And he was like, "Please don't do that, young lady. You have such a bright future ahead of you." And I'm so glad I did not do that. So instead of relying on all these things to numb my pain and even things to give me that short-term gratification, I started to take the longer path to do the self-work. So from that, I jumped to someone who would take a lot of me time, take myself on dates, and where I'll start to journal, start to walk alone in the parks to bond with Mother Nature instead of bond with self-harm. I even went to therapist sessions. I was already in this loophole of darkness and pain and sadness, and all I could do was to walk out of it. More in-depth context will be shared in my next content where I'll be talking about how exactly I practice a new form of mindfulness in my life. So if you guys want to know more details on how I walked out of this more thoroughly, do anticipate my next video. I truly believe that all the problems and pain we see is all a perspective and a process. This is why I chose to embark on this journey of consciousness and self-development. I'd rather be the master of my life and what's happening to me than to be the slave of it. I would often complain about how shitty my life was just because I couldn't handle it. I realized that once I was able to walk myself through all these old ways of viewing pain and discomfort, I started to use it as a superpower for me to gain strength and wisdom out of my life lessons and grow through my experiences and use it to empower the people around me. Also, a gentle reminder that this journey will be forever since we are being granted pain and pleasure to feel everything there is to life. And that is a very beautiful aspect if we choose to see it that way. If you like my content and have any resonance to what I share, I would love for us to share this path together and connect with one another. See you all again soon. Good vibes always.